Hello everyone and welcome to Culture and Debate. Today we are going to talk about a very sensitive and controversial subject, the overfishing. To discuss this topic, we are lucky to have with us Agathe Masclaux, member of Greenpeace, and Moutaouekkil, the representative of the Fishermen's Union. Don't hesitate to react on our page. I feel that it will be a lively debate. I will now leave the floor to our guest. What is your position on the subject?
First of all, hello. I want to thank you for inviting me to this very interesting debate. To answer your question, I'm obviously strongly opposed to this intensive overfishing. Industrial and intensive fishing depletes the fisheries resources of the oceans and seas, threatens the survival of fish species, the employment of fishermen, and global food security. It's responsible for a huge mess. Moreover, alerts to overfishing, whether they come from NGOs or the FAO or the media, converge on one essential point: its harmful effect on artisanal fishing.
Hello everyone and thank you again Mrs. Penel for inviting us on this set to talk about such an important and all-too-common subject as overfishing. It's important to note that today, globally, 80% of commercial fish stocks are either overexploited or fully exploited. For the different species of tuna, cod, wolffish, and shark, the situation is even worse. There are too many boats and not enough fish. As Ineb told us, this is both an ecological and human aberration, and the government is doing nothing to stop this. Well, despite your different view of the fishery, your opinions about overfishing have similarities. Our debate will be based on the movie Spiracy, a Netflix movie released on the platform on March 24. The documentary denounces the ravages of industrial fishing on ecosystems. This film has generated a lot of discussion among researchers, NGOs, and industry. In this program, we will try to understand this controversy by comparing two opinions. Agathe and Zineb, what did you think about this documentary?
For my part, I think that this documentary is unfortunately extremely true. Various subjects are approached with a lot of violence to shock and destabilize the public. This film assaults the viewer to make him react and become aware of that really happens in certain places. He generalizes, but the images and practices are real. I agree with the film that commercial fishing are the main driver of the destruction of natural environment, which are the fruits of hundreds of millions of years of evolution.
While this documentary provides accurate messages about the impact of industrial fishing on ecosystems, it leaves no place for nuance. It describes the fishing industry in a Manichaean way, pitting the gentle vegetarian whites against the big, bad fishermen who want to get rich without limits. Spiracy puts everyone in the same basket, including environmental NGOs that are not against banning fishing, what does not serve the protection of the oceans. Of course, the cases of corruption, illegal fishing, and slavery reported in the film are very real. But this reality is not generalizable to the entire industry. Moreover, Spiracy has many references that are misunderstood, false, or contradicted by the scientific community.
Both points of view are understandable, but they are quite extreme. But I agree with Zineb, many references are misused, such as the percent of CO2 absorbed by the ocean. Indeed, Ali Tabouezi claims that the ocean absorbs 93% of the world's CO2, but the ocean actually stores more like 25 to 30% of the CO2. For my part, I discovered the darker side of fishing and this film moved me a lot. I realized that my image of fishing was conditioned by the media. In the end, our straws are not the most dangerous waste, but the impact of fishing waste is major and most destructive. Something made me realize that my consumption of fish was not eco-responsible and healthy for marine life. What about you, Zineb? Did it enable you to see things differently?
It is true that this film, by its rather violent images of the whales floating in a sea of blood, the decomposing salmon piled up in containers, would shock anyone. It's also true that we don't see enough images reflecting this problem in the media and that we don't talk about it enough. But I think the solution to this problem will not come from the people but from governments.
Okay, thank you for your answer. And you, Agathe, is this a source of inspiration? Would you use this documentary to support your point of view? I think if people talk about it, the government will act. People believe things to make them feel good, but they are manipulated by slogan and misleading label. We have, for example, MSC or Dolphin Safe, which advocates sustainable fishing but admits that we can know if the fishermen keep the account and if they don't put on their catch. Moreover, the few people who have to control the number of catch can be corrupt or killed on the way. Furthermore, Zineb advocates artisanal fishing, but the problem is the fishing industry, who destroy the small local fishermen, especially in Africa. Even on the French coast, dolphins are massacred even though they are supposed to be civilized. Okay, what interesting debate. Moreover, Spiracy also says there will be no more fish in the ocean by 2048. Its director quotes a 2006 study regularly denied. In it, marine ecologist Boris Worm and his team analyzes the decline in the number of fish in the oceans, particularly because of overfishing, based on the decrease in annual catches. A particular graph emerged from this study. Boris Worm extended the curve according to the trend of the time to come to a conclusion. At this rate, there will be no more fish in the oceans by 2048. What do you think about it, Agathe? I agree with him. We are massively fishing for big fish breaking the marine food chain. The small fish were in the majority because they have no predators and will exhaust their food stock and the marine life will die out. We can see that, as Boris Worm described, in 1850 we could catch 1 to 2 tons of tuna per day. Now, with the same boat, we catch 1 to 2 tons per year. With their hard nets, trawlers escape the bottom of the ocean and destroy all the marine life in their path. That's why my team and I have set up an action to throw a boulder into the water to break up the nets and stop them from moving forward.
Okay, but I've been working with many researchers more closely on this curve, which has since been contradicted by Worm himself. And we found that some fish populations are decreasing and others are increasing. If there is no public intervention to regulate catches, the consequences will be catastrophic. However, we are managing stocks more and more sustainably.
Okay, I didn't know that. Now, I would find it interesting to discuss the best solutions for feeding fish without destroying marine ecosystems. According to me, the world's fishing is not right, and the way we eat fish should be reviewed. I think the problem is not the consumers, but the way the fish are cooked. We are fishing too much and badly. We could reduce fishing, make it less harmful to marine life, and still be able to eat fish.
We are too extreme and we are acting selfishly. If we take other species more into consideration, I sincerely believe that this could solve a lot of problems. And for you, what would be the options?
I think when we can afford it, to ask the question of the ecological impact of what we eat is a good thing. Maybe paying more but better quality fish. We will be able to know its origin, where it was fished, and how. We must also bear in mind that we have a role to play as consumers, voters, and citizens, but that a major change can only take place if policies, industrialists, and supermarkets also decide to make an effort to preserve marine ecosystems.
I think that we have already consumed too much and that we are indeed fishing too much and badly. The problem is not paying more for fish, the problem is that the number of humans on Earth is increasing and the number of fish in the ocean is decreasing considerably. If you want to be able to continue to eat fishing sustainably, as you say, the ocean will have to be allowed to repopulate and the government will have to put real measures in place to do this. We talk about sustainability, but nothing can guarantee it. You saw it very well in the film Spiracy, even certified label are falsified.
Well, your proposals are coherent. To end this program, I would like to know what shocked or disturbed you the most in this film. According to me, it was the fact that for one dolphin capture, 12 are killed. I found this ratio very disproportionate and revolting. I already don't tolerate animals in captivity, but on top of that, killing them for pleasure or whatever, I really find that inadmissible, like the killing of dolphins in the Faroe Islands. So, what about you?
The scene that was the most striking and destabilizing for me was the final scene in Iceland. In itself, their practice is traditional and less destructive than overfishing, but seeing so many adult and young whales having their throats slit alive, bathed in their own blood, with a look of distress on their faces, made me blood curdling.
I think that the part of the film that shocked me the most is the one where the terrible practices of slavery in Thailand to fish shrimps in the oceans are denounced. Indeed, a former fisherman described how he was mistreated and forced to work under threat of a weapon, and said that the bodies of those who were killed were kept in freezers on board their ship. I find it unacceptable that in 2021 people are threatened, tortured, or killed in their workplace. It's unacceptable.
I totally agree with you. Many of the images are disturbing and horrifying. Well, this is the end of your daily podcast. I hope you found this topic interesting and that you, like me, enjoyed the company of our guests. I thank them for coming. We will meet again tomorrow for a new debate based on the film Conspiracy.
Thank you for giving me the floor, and I hope that it has taught the listener more about such a little known subject.
Thank you for having me and for allowing me to express my opinion.
Thank you all and see you tomorrow on Culture and Debate. Bye bye.